Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the director of the U.S. Secret Service was grilled by lawmakers. We follow the aftermath of Donald Trump's attempted assassination. A Victoria man faces multiple charges, including assault of a police officer. Plus, an historic church in Dallas is rebuilding after a massive fire last Friday.
Rainfall beginning to wind down now. More to the north headed our way, and also from the south. It'll be a very wet next couple of days. We'll give you the details coming up in your forecast.
And the Houston Astros plan to stay atop of the AL West. That's in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. Victoria police arrested a 59-year-old man today. Joe Cunningham of Victoria faces 12 charges, including resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer, tampering with physical evidence with intent to appear, and evading arrest. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $134,350 bond. The director of the U.S. Secret Service spent Monday in the glaring spotlight of a House committee interrogation. Kimberly Cheadle made her first official testimony on Capitol Hill since the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump July 13th in Pennsylvania.
And nothing but the truth.
The head of the Secret Service in the hot seat of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee called in to explain how a 20-year-old man with his father's assault rifle accessed a roof and nearly assassinated former President Donald Trump.
On July 13th, we failed. I take full responsibility for any security lapse of our agency.
The committee's chair didn't mince words.
It is my firm belief, Director Cheadle, that you should resign.
The questioning quickly became tense on a variety of concerns, such as why the event went forward even after agents became aware of a suspicious man in the crowd.
So you distinguish between someone who is suspicious and someone who's threatening, is that right?
We do. There are a number of times at protective events where suspicious people are identified.
Also questions on whether Trump's team was denied additional security ahead of the rally.
Were you guessing or lying when you said you didn't turn down requests from President Trump's detail?
There were no requests that were denied.
Maybe they got tired of asking.
Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of today.
Several lawmakers accused Director Cheadle of dodging their questions. She also admitted that she has yet to visit the site of the shooting.
I will move heaven and earth to ensure that an incident like July 13th does not happen again.
The job description, your task was is to make sure it never happens, period.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Director Cheadle told the House committee Monday she expects her agency's internal probe to take about 60 days, which some members called unacceptable. Dangerous heat will affect people in the West. Monday, 25 million people will be under heat alerts with temperatures into the 100s. The Weather Prediction Center says more vulnerable people like small children and the elderly should take caution and make sure to hydrate the next few days. Las Vegas reached 114 degrees on Sunday, breaking yet another heat record. In the Dallas area, multiple cars were seen stranded on interstates and Garland roads Monday morning following the heavy rains. TxDOT camera shows several cars stuck on the highway after rain pushed through North Texas. Some vehicles were seen not moving in the high water, while others were able to drive through the water. A TxDOT official said litter clogging the drains contributed to the flooding issues. And now let's take a first look at your forecast. In for First Orange Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis, meteorologist Trey Mining has your forecast. And Trey, I see some rain in your forecast.
Exactly, and quite a bit of it headed our way. Currently on the outside, feels like 86 degrees. Thanks for the cloud cover that kept the temperature down a little bit, only the 80s to near 90 degrees today, as opposed to triple digits we could be having this time of year. Feel like temperature 93 degrees, humidity still high. Rain beginning to subside now, but up to the north, there is a weak frontal boundary up here that's headed our way toward the south. In addition to tropical moisture off the Gulf of Mexico combining over the area beginning tomorrow to give us a pretty good rain amount around here, and adding up on the rain we've had in the last couple of days, looks like we could see some potential flooding in some parts of the region coming up. What days would be have that more accessible than others? We'll take a look at that a little later on in the full forecast to come. Grab your umbrellas and keep them with you throughout the week. Don?
Trey, thank you. FEMA disaster survivor assistance crews are going door to door starting in the south end of Jackson County and in Palacios. The FEMA representatives will be only assessing damages that were caused by Hurricane Beryl. The vehicles that the FEMA representatives have will be clearly marked, and the representatives will be carrying FEMA government identifications. After more than 100 years of worship services, First Baptist Dallas's downtown sanctuary sat quiet Sunday after being destroyed in a massive fire Friday. But even that could not keep its congregation from coming together. Members packed into a temporary site at the Dallas Convention Center Sunday morning. There, Senior Pastor Robert Jeffers assured church members that the sanctuary will rise from the flames. The exact cause of the fire is still under investigation. 4 Dallas fire rescue crew members injured in a crash Sunday morning. Officials said a DFR engine drove off an elevated roadway at Interstate 345 Expressway at about 6 o'clock in the morning and landed on dirt tracks below. 4 DFR members were transported to Baylor University Medical Center, but their conditions are unknown. Officials closed parts of Interstate 345, South Good-Latimer, Routh Street, and the DART rail system off to all traffic. It is unclear what caused the accident and if other vehicles were involved. Victoria County deputies arrested a 35-year-old woman Saturday. Rebecca Ordonez of Victoria faces 2 charges, including having a prohibited substance in a correctional facility. She is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $60,000 bond. Church leaders in San Antonio are training to serve as mental health counselors. The program, called Empower, is aimed at staffing church members with basic counseling skills to support those with mental health issues in their communities. It's also bridging the gap in the mental health care system by providing additional resources with replacing clinical care. You can read the full Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And here's your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Do you think church leaders are qualified to become counselors? Yes or no? 39% of our voters said yes, and 61% just changed. I love it when it changes on their live TV. So 38% say yes, 62% say no. We thank you for voting, and we want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we will have an update on 25 News Now at 10. Let's Grow Texas Ag Part 2. Calhoun County debuts tonight, right here, right after 25 News Now at 6. It'll also be on KVCT tonight at 9:35. On KMOL, it'll be on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. and on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Let's Grow Texas Ag will be on KXTS Friday night at 10 and on Saturday morning at 11. Check it out. Great show. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. President Biden withdraws his bid for re-election. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, what Texas Senator Ted Cruz has to say about that. Also ahead, wildfires in California devastating the region. We take a look at some of the wildfires next. A female pilot has become the first American woman to score victory in air-to-air combat. The Navy says the woman, who has not been named, was flying an FA-18 Super Hornet off the aircraft carrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower as part of Strike Fighter Squadron 32. The aerial victory came against a one-way Houthi attack drone. The Iran-backed Shia rebel group deployed dozens of drones against civilian merchant ships in the Red Sea and nearby waters in reaction to the destruction in Gaza. Today, the nation is reacting to President Biden's decision to withdraw his re-election campaign. Kamala Harris is already getting endorsements from the Democrat Party's most prominent leaders, including President Biden himself.
Salute to her boss. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance started his first full week on the GOP ticket campaigning with a solo event in his hometown near Cincinnati.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, after 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency, or whoever actually is calling the shots in Joe Biden's White House, are we ready to re-elect President Donald J. Trump again?
Vance shared the stage with running mate former President Trump in Michigan over the weekend, polling the crowd as they're now forced to change course.
So who would you like to most run against if you're us, if we want to win? Ready? Kamala Harris. Crooked Joe Biden. All right. I don't think we have to go too much further.
President Biden's team says he plans to campaign in battleground states very aggressively with Vice President Harris as soon as his doctor gives him the COVID all clear. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, the White House.
U.S. Senator Ted Cruz spoke this morning about President Biden leaving the race and the likelihood of Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the Democrat nominee. Cruz said Democrats lied to voters for months about Biden's mental fitness.
We are living in historic times. Yesterday, for the first time in the history of our country, a sitting president and the nominee or presumptive nominee of one of the 2 major parties dropped out just months away from the general election day. As we stand here today, we're 105 days away from Election Day in November. This has never happened in the history of our country.
Meanwhile, leaders around the world are sending messages of gratitude and support. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thanked Biden for being a true friend to his country, and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says Biden deserves to be recognized for putting the interest of the U.S. above his own. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Biden for his unwavering support in his country's war against Russia, and Israeli President Isaac Herzog described Biden as a, quote, true ally of the Jewish people, unquote. 1,500 homes in Riverside, California were evacuated because of the Hawarden fire. The 500-acre blaze started Sunday and is currently 0% contained. The wildfire has destroyed 3 buildings and damaged 4 others. No injuries have been reported. Drought conditions and recent heat waves across the West have dried out much of the region. It's left room for wildfires to quickly spread out of control. The Biden administration announced more than $4 billion to address the climate crisis. The funding, which comes from the Inflation Reduction Act, will be used for 25 projects across 30 states. The White House says these projects are expected to reduce greenhouse gas pollution by as much as 971 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2050. That's about how much 5 million average homes emit in energy over 25 years.
Good plus about having the clouds and the rainfall, it keeps the temperatures down. Temperatures in the 80s for highs expected for the next several days. But the threat of heavy rain is a possibility for us. We'll talk about that coming up in your forecast. Good evening, everyone. As I mentioned a minute ago, it's good to have the cloud cover the rainfall. It keeps the temperatures down, but the heat index values are still relatively on the hot side, not any really oppressive figures that we're going to be seeing the next couple of days. Main story will be the rainfall, of course. 70s in the overnight feel like temperature by about the early morning time for your Tuesday, and going back up as we work throughout the day with the sunshine. Tries to break through a little bit of the cloud cover, but having a hard time doing so. Feel like temperatures remaining in the 90s for most of the daytime hours, of course. Tropics is looking pretty good, actually. From the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean Sea, Atlantic Basin, a couple of tropical waves we're looking at, one off the African coast. It looks pretty healthy here, but has a long way to go before it even enters the Caribbean Sea, at least about a week or so in time frame. So have a long time to look at that. Not really a bother to us anytime soon. And the Atlantic Basin pretty much on the quiet side as well. Some tropical moisture here, not in an organized system or anything of that nature, but it's beginning to move a little bit further to the north, bring some of that tropical moisture with it. This combined with the frontal zone to our north, combining over that region beginning tomorrow and lasting for the next several days. The weather pattern not really changing too much. Give us an extended period of heavy rain potentially, and some potential flooding along with that, with those two systems coming together. Satellite radar composite thunderstorms earlier today have pretty much faded on now, with the daytime heat is now beginning to go away. But along the frontal boundary, they pretty much stay in place along the frontal boundary here because of the frontal boundary, as I said, is a boundary that allows that moisture to lift up in the atmosphere, cause clouds to build skyward and create thunderstorms, which is exactly what's happening along the stationary front here. And it's gradually beginning to sag further to the south, so we'll get more of that precipitation to go through the next couple of days down the road. And speaking of that, looking at the potential, we have about half an inch or so coming up area wide, coming up through your day on Tuesday and your Wednesday. Then begins to pile up as we get more of that tropical moisture in. Could have anywhere from 4 to 5 inch totals by the time we get to the weekend, of course. So this could lead to some localized flooding in and around the region, so be weather aware, of course. Normally areas that flood, maybe some low water crossings or the creek beds or what have you. Be careful if you're in those areas. Looks like they could be overtopped with some water, of course. And the future tracker, seeing that frontal system beginning to move further to the south with time. Tropical moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, giving us a pretty good round of thunderstorms again for your day tomorrow into your day on Wednesday. Calming down a little bit in the overnight, but still a threat along the coast, especially in the morning times for us around here. So be weather aware, and we'll keep you updated as we go throughout the next couple of days. For Quero, well, shower chances coming up for the early morning hours tomorrow through most of the day tomorrow as well. Some of those could be on the heavy side, so watch weather developments. Be careful out there if you're traveling especially. Highs only in the 80s because of cloud cover. Port Lavaca, cloudy skies throughout the entire forecast period here throughout the day tomorrow, with temperatures in the 80s for highs. No 90s at the time being because of the cloud cover as just mentioned, of course. And Victoria, cloudy skies with thunderstorm chances throughout the day as well. So be careful out there. Some of those storms can be on the heavy side, so be weather aware. I've got alert days all the time period from Tuesday all the way to about Friday and Saturday for the potential for flooding. Not seeing any severe weather per se, except for the high water risk, of course, with the heavier rainfall. Beginning to subside a little bit coming up by Sunday to Monday, with rain chances beginning to subside a little bit by then. High temperatures in the 80s, of course. Be weather aware for the next few days. Lows in the 70s. Check this out right here. One way you can be connected with us is through our app. Get your smartphone, scan the code you see there on your screen. They'll take you to a webpage. You can download our Crossroads Today app and sign up for email alerts, news, weather, and sports at your fingertips. Very easy, convenient, free of charge to be connected with us. Everything you know in the Crossroads, we've got it right here on your phone. Back to you, Don.
All right, thank you, Trey. And Max Williams has your sports, or should we call him Midnight Madness, Max?
Yes, the tournament here for Premier Prospects, that's going to be coming up, Don, on Friday. That'll be in sports. Stay with us. The Generals are back tonight against the Gumbo Gators. That first pitch will be at 7:05 p.m. This game was rescheduled from July 7th due to rain, but this was a huge game for both teams as the Generals are playing to finish the season strong, and they're trying to get that #1 overall seed. But for the Gumbo Gators, they're battling with the Acadiana Cane Cutters and the Baton Rouge Rougarou, who are, again, they're all just one game back from with each other right now. And there's 1 week left of the regular season, and the Generals are back home against the Rougarou tomorrow night, weather pending. Premier Prospects will be having its 6th annual Midnight Madness tournament, and here's the director, Ernest Gonzalez, with some more details.
You know, the only thing is trying to stay awake, trying to keep teams to stay awake, keep the girls busy. And then, you know, there's people out there that do fall asleep, but that's why they call it the Midnight Madness. Teams, you know, they're pretty competitive, and when they play each other, pretty equal. So, you know, they run out of time. So we have to do what's called an ITB, International Tiebreaker.
You can catch this all-night tournament on Friday through Saturday morning, taking place at Victoria Youth Sports Complex. For Division 8 and 16U, pool games will start that evening, single elimination bracket, and games will be at midnight. First and second place winners will receive new custom Coastal Bend Championship rings and medallions for the MVPs. The Houston Astros are tying the AL West right now with the Seattle Mariners after this past weekend series. The Astros took 2 games out of the 3 against the Mariners, and they're feeling confident going tonight against the Oakland Athletics. One player who's been hot for the Astros lately is Yordan Alvarez, who's right now has 106 hits and 20 home runs so far this season. The Astros plan to keep their winning ways tonight. First pitch will be at 8:40 p.m. And on the mound will be former Generals pitcher Spencer Getty. Also, the Texas Rangers play at Globe Life Field tonight against the Chicago White Sox. First pitch is at 7:05 p.m. Rangers just came off a tough series against AL East leaders Baltimore Orioles, where they lost 2 out of 3 games. They're planning to get back on track tonight against one of the worst teams in baseball, in the White Sox. On the mound for the Rangers is Michael Lorenzen, who is 5-5 and has a 3.52 ERA. And finally, Olympic Games begin this Friday in Paris, France, and Team USA announced that LeBron James will be the male flag bearer for the opening ceremony. In a statement, James said he's proud to be part of this important moment and he can't bring the world together. This is James' 4th Olympics, and the men's basketball team will start competition play against Serbia on Sunday in France. That's all in sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you. We're back in a moment. A couple claims to have found a piece of President George Washington's tent. Hey, let's have a tent sale. Those details straight ahead. Finally tonight, a couple says it has found a portion of a tent belonging to President George Washington. Richard Dana Moore found the item while searching Goodwill online. At the time, he bid $1,700. But after confirming the tent is real, it's now estimated to be worth tens of thousands of dollars. For the time being, Moore has donated the tent to the Museum of the American Revolution in Pennsylvania. Actually, at first he thought it was a shirt. He tried it on and it fit him like a tent. Hey, we have 5 locations where our hurricane tracking guide can be picked up. Go to crossroadstoday.com. Click on weather, hurricane tracker, and you'll see it on your right below, Storm Prep 2024. It is a great guide, but we hope we don't have to use it very often.
Hopefully not, but what I'm concerned about is August and September are the prime hurricane season months. We have to go through that to get through the season. So more than likely, with the predicted very active season, it's more than likely we'll see something during that time period. So it pays now to get prepared while it's on the quiet side. Of course, here's our chart here. Kind of get a little view of it. Has a nice tracking chart inside, folded like this. You track them all the way from the Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico. Has the evacuation routes on the back. And so you'll be familiar with those. Everything you need for your kit, supply kit you may be needing if you're going to be traveling or if you're going to be staying and riding out the storm here locally.
And
so everything you need to know, and it's free of charge.
And it's free.
There's the best part.
Free is always in the budget, so get one of those.
But we have rain coming up.
Rain, and yes, more rain coming up, especially tomorrow. Quiet in the overnight tonight, I think will be okay, but rain chances combining moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and from the front headed out from us from the north. As we go over our area for the next several days, the flooding likelihood is there, so be weather aware. We'll keep you updated as we go through the next few days.
Great, Trey. Thank you, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight for 25 News Now at 10. Have a good one, everybody.